Oh, welcome everyone to 30 Minutes of Wisdom. I'm your host, Robin Blank Mascari, and we get together regularly to share thought leaders to support your personal and professional development. And I love quoting Jim Rohn. He says, work twice as hard on yourself as you do on your business, because you are your business. So today we have a really, really special guest, as we always do, but I just get excited every time. He comes to us as a two-time Wall Street Journal bestselling author, and he's referred to as the Robin Williams with an MBA, and you're going to experience that for yourself in a few minutes. He's practical, he's got tons of content, and he combines everything with real life entertaining and sometimes side-splitting stories. And I can vouch for that because I have amazing memories of my gut and my face hurting so much from laughing. The guy is brilliant, and he is also known as a mentor to mentors. He's advised, mentored, and guided many luminaries in the fields of leadership, professional speaking, consulting, entrepreneurship, and business strategy. He's a consultant to businesses and organizations, Fortune 20 companies, sometimes small companies, but everyone loves them all. He loves them all. And he's an entrepreneur and inventor, and he was actually awarded the Innovation of the Year by Bank of America. And he's in really good company with former Prime Minister Margaret Thatcher, Tom Peters, Secretary of State James Baker, Maya Angelou, and many others. He created this invention called the Rejuvenation Station. And maybe later on you can share that with us, because it's quite a very important invention, especially right now in the world. And he's been featured in Forbes, Inc. magazine, NBC, Fox, Wall Street Journal. The list goes on and on and on. He's an early adopter, and we met back in the 80s, and we exchanged programs. I was with Covey, he was with Brian Tracy. He was a partner with Brian. And we became friends through a mutual friend, and he has been a gift in my life ever since. So it is my pleasure to introduce you to David Corbin.
Well, boy, oh boy, I want to meet this guy.
Yeah, me too.
Oh my God. Actually, no, I know him very well. Took me many years to really get to know him.
I love it.
I know him very well. I love him. I gave him a shower this morning. That's how friendly we are.
Oh, okay. So let's jump in, David. And you've become an expert in the branding field, and branding is such an important part of our business and our life, whether we're an entrepreneur or have, another kind of business. Could you describe what branding is before we jump in, so we're all on the same page?
Yeah, I'm happy to. I'm going to take a contrarian view and tell you what branding isn't. It's not your business card. It's not your colors, although that's a part of it. It's an impression. I mean, just think of the word brand. It is an impression that's within the heart and the mind. Almost the whole quadrinity, the physical, the emotional, the intellectual, and you have an impression in all aspects of your client, of your prospect, even before they even meet you. So, what is it? It's a feeling. It's a feeling. It's a gut feeling. The area that I specialize in is in living that brand, being that brand, making sure you're in brand integrity, because nothing's neutral. And the other side of the opposite of brand integrity is brand slaughter, where you're killing your brand and you don't even know it. And so, so branding is an impression. It's a piece of real estate that you own in the limbic system and maybe even some of the prefrontal cortex. You own that, and they think of you, and boom, that's what they think and feel and suppose. It's interesting how they suppose we are certain things based around the branding, and that's another long conversation.
Well, I've never had it explained that beautifully before, because when you think about certain companies, you get a feeling, and that's the brand. And yes, all those things like the color and the design and the logo make a difference, but it's what I feel about your company or you, if you're the brand, that makes the difference. And so you say people either are living in brand integrity or slaughtering it. What do you mean by that?
Yeah, here's what I found. I'm going to back up. We did research years ago, and we asked many, many people, why do you buy from whom you buy? And there were three distinct groups. One group says, I buy because of features and benefits. I could buy 2 pairs of glasses for $99 at Lens Crafters. Next group said, I buy because of a relationship. The largest group said, God only knows. They didn't know why they chose. I know, it was incredible. So in the science of marketing, we asked what's called a push question. And over on this column, we said, hey, would you switch? And the features and benefits said, yeah, we'd switch. If somebody had 3 pairs of glasses for $99 or whatever, I'd switch. The relationship group said, yeah, I mean, I can establish a different relationship with my dry cleaner or those whom I buy my supplements from. I could establish a relationship. The largest group, why do you buy from whom you buy? God only knows. Would you switch? No way. What? So we looked at that. What happened there? Why would they not switch? And they don't even know why they're staying with them. That's that branding factor. To quote the famous philosopher Austin Powers, it's the mojo, baby. It's the mojo. And so your brand then is your mojo, but it's not enough for God to only know. You need to know. And then you need to do it consistently and on purpose in every dang thing that you do.
Oh,
yeah. So that's brand integrity. And anything that you do that is not consistent with that is undermining and killing the brand. And that's what we call brand slaughter in the first, second, third degree. Well, I didn't do it. I own the company. It was my employee that did it. Well, then you're busted for brand slaughter in the second degree. But we are responsible, especially our entrepreneurs.
That's amazing, because I was just thinking about, we work with a bunch of entrepreneurs and they don't even realize they have a brand. And when they're not living, I would say, consistently with what people expect, they're slaughtering their brand. Is that
Amen.
correct?
Amen. People say, well, gee, I'm not sure what my brand is. And I say, well, people around you are. You say, well, I don't have a brand. Oh, yes, you do. And you want to find out, is it a good witch or a bad witch? I mean, how are you known? And you can ask people, if you were to describe me in 4 adjectives, what might they be? Now, that's a good question. Let me talk to the entrepreneurs for a second. Number 1, I love you. Number 2, this great nation is in trouble. Number 3, the entrepreneur has always built this great nation. That might be 3 or 4, but I want to end with, it's always been that way. And it's important for us as entrepreneurs to be as strong and fortified and healthy and robust and successful as we possibly can, because that's what builds this great nation back. Oh, yes, it builds us. It builds our IRAs and it builds our kids' schooling, and it's big. So entrepreneurs, I love you. Listen carefully. Do ask some of the people, hey, what are some of the descriptive adjectives you would use? I personally teach in my latest book having IBDs, your intended brand descriptors, and list those out. What are your intended brand descriptors? And then everything you do, you make sure that you're building and earning those descriptors and not committing brand slaughter.
You just listening to you gave me ideas for what we can do in our business, because I do want to ask. I think so often we just assume, and we know what that means. and to take the time to ask, what's your perception of our brand? And is there any place where you see we're not living in integrity? I want to thank you for that, because that's extremely helpful for me, and I think for lots of other people. I want to make a little transition here, because you're like this positive guy, that's how people know you. You're just, you even wrote a book called Illuminate. But how did you ever write a book called Illuminate that actually has the subtitle Harnessing the Power of Negative Thinking? Oh.
Well, let me say this. I am a very serious fellow.
Me too.
And I see you're a very serious woman.
And we did not plan this, everyone. We just pulled
David pulled out of his drawer, and I pulled out mine.
It started as a little blemish, Doc, and I don't know what to do about it. Yeah, I love fun and mirth. Didn't you have a friend who used to talk about having the vice president of mirth in different companies? I believe in having fun. I believe as tension goes down, retention goes up. So whenever I do consulting or training or speaking, I always make sure we have a little bit of fun. I don't know if there's what you said, side splitting stories, but I always make sure that we have, some fun. And yeah, I'm a positive guy, but I've read, there you go. There's my buddy. I've read.
I've got a whole set.
Look at you. So I've been through the positive mental attitude genre of books. I've shared the stage with Dr. Norman Vincent Peale and so many others. But in my research, nowhere in the positive mental attitude literature does it say we should ignore negative issues. Nowhere. But we do that. Remember that song, you've got to, the dancing bear, accentuate the positive and eliminate the negative. I say, yes, accentuate the positive, but don't eliminate the negative. Illuminate it. Beautiful. Illuminate it. If God forbid this were a melanoma on the side of my face, I'm going to accentuate the positive and say 99% of my skin is great. I'm going to not even look at that. No. I say illuminate it. In some cases, irradiate it, but illuminate. So how does that apply to my brother and sister entrepreneurs? I'm a graduate of Woodstock. You might be able to see the poster there. I was at Woodstock. I was 17 years old there. And I learned from someone there backstage, you're either green and growing or ripe and rotting, but you're never standing still.
You were backstage?
I was, yeah. That's another long story. Yeah, Daddy taught me to get out of the rain. I got out of the rain. But I learned you're either green and growing and ripe and rotting, which is the essence of Six Sigma, TQM, and the like. So here's what I do. Because I'm a graduate of Woodstock, I hallucinate. I talk to my business and I say, business, what do you need from me? What do you need me to do? What do you need me to be good at? Who do you need me to be? And I put that on a wheel, and every one of those core job functions is a spoke on the wheel. Then I get naked with myself, stripped of ego. And I rate myself on a scale of 1 to 10 in all of those areas that my business said I need to do and I need to be. And where I'm a 7, 8, or 9, see, out by the outer rim, there's 10 in mastery. Where I'm a 7, 8, or 9, I'm awesome. That's close to mastery. I accentuate the positive. But where I'm a 2, 3, or 4, I don't eliminate the negative. I illuminate the negative. I say, what do I need to do to go from a 2 to a 6? And I start closing the gaps. PGA, which is not golf. It's performance gap analysis. And I set goals and I inventory assets. Who do I know? What can I read? And I close the gap. And when I do that, it feels so good. My self-esteem and self-confidence goes up. My competence goes up and my confidence goes up, which makes my confidence. And I'm going up the eensy beensy spider, up the prosperity and fulfillment spout, instead of down the rabbit hole. And that's the essence of Illuminate. My question, brother and sisters, entrepreneurs, are you willing to make that circle? Have a conversation with your business, ask it what those spokes could, should, might, ought be, and then rate yourself and have the courage, the vulnerability, the honesty to close gaps. Because when you do, it's a no whining zone. Well, I'm not producing in the market. When you take that personal responsibility and you be, as Robin said earlier, build yourself 2x to build yourself, all of a sudden, surprise, 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 you get lucky. You attract into your life people and situations and things that get under your wings and fly you into success because you're taking part control of your destiny. And I'll just say that, many of us work off of lists. And we know how good it feels when you check it off the list, right? That's that law of control, like closing a gap. Someone will do something. It's not on the list. We put it on the list just so we could check it off. And that's the law of control. And that's how it feels when you close the gaps. Identify the gaps, close the gaps. That is the essence of the Illuminate model. And the mic drop.
Whoa. So we as entrepreneurs, I'll feel guilty on this one. I don't often take the time to do that assessment on my own business and where that gap is. And so this is incredibly empowering if we're willing to do it. So I'm going to challenge everyone to take David's advice. I invite you to really get naked with your business and do the assessment and find out where that gap is and then work on that. Love it. Now, this is going to be a bit contrary because there's this whole school of thought of operate from your strengths. The Strength Finder from the Gallup organization. How does this relate to that?
Well, they're completely wrong. No, I love Strength Finders. It's phenomenal. But, we're missing something, though. I used to arm wrestle with one of my dear buddies, John Assaraf. You might know John. We've been friends also since the Civil War. And he would always say that, hire people that which is for them fun, but which is for you work. And I say, I can't agree more. But on the scale of 1 to 10, let's say finance and accounting is that spoke on the wheel. At least become a 6. Not that you could become a CP, so that you can curate, cull, hire, connect with, and keep honest your accountant. Know enough about that. I've seen too many people blindsided. No, I don't think you should become a CPA, nor should you abdicate. No, you need to learn enough to delegate. So I agree with Gallup, and I have to say, with respect, because I've shared the platform with Howard, and with respect, they might be doing people a disservice by letting them stay in a level of 1, 2, or 3, which is inadequate and insufficient.
That is very, very helpful to me because what the example you just gave, I think happens to so many people. I don't like it. I don't want to do it. I'm going to give it to someone else. And then they get taken because they don't know enough to pay attention.
Well, let me say that is sadly a characteristic of the American culture today. And that is to only accentuate the positive and to easily abdicate and eliminate the negative. I was challenged on Oprah Radio once. They said, well, how does this even apply to kids and family? I said, well, your daughter's great. She's getting pretty good grades. She's on the soccer team. She comes home on a Friday night. She's acting a little strange. She's covering her mouth and she's going to sleep. And it happens on a Saturday. Well, but the kids, I'm going to accentuate the positive because she's doing pretty good in school and she's doing great in soccer. and they eliminate the potential observation of the negative. And that is irresponsible. Stay awake. Stay alert.
awake. Okay, so circling this all together here as entrepreneurs, and many people watching this are in the network marketing arena. What advice do you have for us as far as branding and illuminating, and what are things we should be paying attention to?
I would ask those who are in network marketing, have you ever worked with a different network marketing company?
Have I?
Oh, you have. And have you ever worked with a different one? Yeah. Oh, you have. What brand is important? The one you worked with, the one you worked with, or the one you're working with? I venture to say the most important brand is the common thread to all three, and that is you. Why should I buy from you? Oh, by the way, there's someone else in that same organization right down the road. I met them. They're in my blah, blah, blah group. Why should I buy from you? And they're not even going to ask. They're going to scan you. They're going to scan you with greater scanners than an HP scanner and a greater computer than even they're going to scan you, and they're going to get a sense of, do they like or trust or why they should buy from you? I say, make it easy for them to scan you. Make it easy for them to have that connection. Be your brand and be consistent in your brand. And your brand might not jive with him or her. It's going to jive with who it jives with. Be your brand, get out there among them, and surprise, surprise, you're going to be successful. Business is the easiest thing in the world. The inner game of business, not always so easy.
That is beautiful. And it's in our business, we call it a relationship business. And, you know, people want to do business with people, like you just said, they know, like, and trust. So be one of those and being consistent about that. So I'd love you to talk a little bit about your new book, because it just, I mean, you were on the beaches when it got released, I guess. I had the privilege of reading it ahead of time, and I loved it. And it actually had me in tears a few times. I was quite amazed. It really touched me. So I want to have people know what's coming, because it's very relevant for the times we're in.
It is, you know, it's the smallest book I've ever written. It's number 13. It's the smallest book I've ever written. And I believe it packs the biggest punch, because it teaches you the process by reading about, as you know, Robs, it's about a hospital. It's a Reliance Hospital, fictitious hospital, which comes from my previous book, Preventing Brand Slaughter. Well, we carry it forward. And in this hospital, you learn how to live your brand even under pressure. But it takes you through the Illuminate model. It takes you through the brand slaughter model. And I would ask everyone to get out a pen and paper. I'm going to give you a formula right now. You're going to love it. It's crazy. You ready? Get ready. No, get it. No, get a pen. Got it? Okay, you got a pen. You jot down IBD. And it's not irritable bowel disease. It's intended brand descriptors. IBD plus ABI. That's the ABI. That's the audit of brand integrity. Plus SBI is your strategic brand initiatives, equals OBI. OBI is outstanding brand integrity. Now I'm going to back it up. I already talked earlier about the IBDs, the intended brand descriptors. This book, ta-da! And you'll see Robin's name in it, because she gave a lovely quote. She's in between Richard Dreyfuss, the actor, and the guy, and Brian Smith, who invented UGG boots. In fact, Brian's right up there. So the intended brand descriptors, how do you want to be described? And then you go through, then you do an ABI, which is an audit of brand integrity. So what you're going to do is you're going to look over here is a column of, these are the people I interact with, people at networking groups, existing customers, uplines, blah, blah, blah. These are the people I interact with. These are my intended brand descriptors. And I look at the intersection and say, with this person, am I earning this brand descriptor? Let me have some examples of where I am and some examples of where I'm not. Some examples of brand integrity and some examples of brand slaughter. And you do that. Now you circle the ones, it's a check mark or an X. You circle the X's. We're happy to illuminate the negative, but we want to accentuate the positive. We want to illuminate the negative. So then you now set your SBIs. Those are your strategic brand initiatives. What am I going to do to close the gap? How can I behave differently? What can I do? Those are your strategic brand initiatives. And when you do, you reach OBI, outstanding brand integrity. The story does make you cry, especially, did you cry at the point where the guy's outside and pandemic hit and she's gonna have a baby and he can't be there and this nurse comes out?
That was one of them. Yep.
Right?
Yep.
I mean, I reread it on the beach in Mazatlan last week and I teared up because it's just so real. But in the process, gentle reader, you learn the model, you learn Illuminate, you learn brand slaughter. What I like to say is my Illuminate book, which was an international bestseller, and my brand slaughter book, which was Wall Street Journal, got drunk one night. And 9 months later, they gave birth to the Illuminated Brand. And I love this little bastard. And so it's about a 60-minute read, 70-minute read, but it's a lifelong of integration on making sure we consistently ask ourselves, am I living as a parent to the descriptors that I want to be? What are examples of that in my professional and my personal, in my community, in my health, and my personal responsibility to my body temple, which is yet another whole episode, Robin, which we can always skip.
That's the next book.
Yeah.
It's a beautiful story and it's so timely, but like you said, it has, even though times will be changing soon, we hope that it has a lasting message. And it's a message, like you just said, personally and professionally, that we can all, take hold of. So the 30 minutes goes really, really fast. I know, it's amazing. So final comments for people. You're dealing, we have a bunch of entrepreneurs here that are finally, some of them know about branding and are very intentional and conscious about it. But for someone who's brand new to even this concept, what would you recommend, or any final comments about anything?
Well, to quote somebody who graduated in the year above me, a guy named William Shakespeare, he was a year older than me. He said, "To thine own self be true, and it shall follow as the night the day, thou canst not be false to any other." Mm. Know yourself before you go into anything. Know yourself. Take inventory of what your superpowers are. Take inventory of your personal brand. Know thyself. And by God, be thyself. You're magnificent. Be the authentic you. You were the one of a gazillion sperm. You made it. There's something special about you. Know yourself. Be yourself. Honor yourself. Fortify yourself with a knife and fork. Hydrate yourself. Supplement yourself. Think. Be connected with yourself. Meditate. Yeah, that's the mic drop on that, baby.
That's beautiful. What a gift you are. And I know that every time I get to connect with you, it's been a long time since we've been in each other's physical presence, but I always feel better about myself. And I know that that's one of my favorite definitions of leadership, that, when it's not about that you like that person, but when you're in their presence, you feel better about yourself. And you do that for me. And I'm so grateful all these years to have just witnessed, I don't know if you'd even had one book out when we met, and now you have 13.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, so it's beautiful. So David has books on customer service. He has books on branding. He has what are your other books on? I don't know all 13.
I don't know. I have a building on the back of my property. You may recall. I'm in a cottage on the back of my property. I have another building, which is a library museum, and it's just lined with magnificent books. And I sometimes see my books and there I go, oh, that's right, I forgot about that book. I write on change management, personal and professional development. But my heart is always about, as you said earlier, quoting the great Jim Rohn, and Zig used to say this as well, and that's build yourself. Zig used to say, Dave, you imitate me better than I do me. And it was fun. One time we actually challenged his wife to see if she could determine who was who. We turned her around and we both went, hi, sugar darling. And she turned around, she says, well, Dave, you came in second, but that was good. Anyway, build yourself. Invest in yourself as though your life depends on it. And by God, make sure you put the right fuel. I've got 9 cars. I like cars. And if I put lousy fuel in those cars, none of them would go well. Put the right fuel in your system. Be integrous with your values. Be in integrity with your brand. And live such a magnificent, beautiful, big life. Amazing how lucky you get when you do that.
Thank you. That was beautiful. You've inspired me today and forever, and I'm so grateful. Thank you for all that you give and being a mentor to mentors and adding this silliness. I guess we should finish up this way, huh?
What other way is there?
We got to do it. I love it that we both had our noses ready. We did not plan this, you guys.
What are the odds of 2 people who work on themselves, have been at the highest level of the field of professional development, who enjoy life, who are healthy, and have a magnificent loved ones in their lives would have this? What are the odds? Pretty darn good.
Oh, thank you, David. I love you.
Much love and love to Gregory.
Okay, bye-bye.
Peace.